right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Brand new camera. I had that other camera for I don't even know how many years. So I'm sure the technology may have gotten a little bit better, but I was did a live stream earlier with my hardcore members, and just me looking at the picture now on here, I'm like, wow, that is so much more clear and defined. It's pretty wild, actually. It's pretty wild looking at it, realizing that wow, I probably should have upgraded sooner. I guess I had to see. I have to wait until the other one completely craps the bed before I'll go and change anything. So it happens. You know, there's that old saying: if it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do. But this is like unbelievably clear, and I did not buy the top of the line camera. I bought like the middle of the line camera. So anyway, welcome everybody. And before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those great people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here. So just putting that out there ahead of time. All right. So just to let you know, I will not be live streaming on Sunday. I have to work Sunday, but I will live stream on Monday. So just putting that out there for people ahead of time, so they know, what's going on. So yeah, I will definitely be live streaming on Monday, and then I know that I'll be live streaming next Friday as well. So right now, that's as far as I know. So just putting that out there ahead of time. Well, we have had the weather down here has been absolutely crazy with the amount of rain that we had. It's been absolutely nuts. And so it's supposedly going to get better after today. So, and then it's supposed to get warmer. So we'll see how that all goes. And hopefully that is the case. I definitely would like to be dealing with some drier weather so I can get out and do something and not be in a mud pit all the time. That would be really, really nice. So anyhow, all right. So I don't know if you guys saw or not that, and we're going to talk about this because I think this is really interesting, and it's really interesting how things have kind of developed. Okay, so you just had Elon Musk step down as the head of Doge, right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Delbert said, "Ed, you and me too, dealing with mud. I know what you mean. Oh, it's been crazy. Absolutely. I'm going to show you guys. I'll give you an example. When the dogs are out in their run, okay, and I go out to get, like, if I come home from work, I change first. And I'm going to give you an example here of what I'm talking about. This is one of the shirts that I'll wear when I go to get the dogs out. Okay, that's one of the shirts that I'll wear. I'm going to show you this other pair of pants. So I will change into these pants because the way I look at it is once they're all mudded up and dirty and crappy, right? It don't matter after that. So those are what I'll wear to go out and deal with the dogs because, of course, then they all want to jump on me anyway. So if my clothes are already dirty, it doesn't matter. So, but, you know, all the tanks that we have hooked up are full, JJ. Yes. Every tank that we have that is hooked up is absolutely, absolutely full. So I know that like Bud had transferred water out of his one tank into his other tank. So I'm pretty sure that his tanks are full as well. So that's there. And yeah, it's just been it's been interesting. I'm definitely ready for some drier weather. It's been nuts. So the so I had called and I had spoken with Barbara, and if you guys remember, Barbara, it was her grandson that passed away in that automobile accident. Okay, and I've called and I've checked on her, and and her son Jason, and he was the father of the boy. And like I said, I never met the child, but I know Barbara and I've met Jason a few times. And so very, very difficult to deal with. But I was asking her about the lawnmower, and she said, yeah, that coupling comes off. So I did not break anything. For those of you that go, oh, another lawnmower down to Prepper Nurse One, it had nothing to do with that. But how's the fencing going with your neighbors? They haven't been back, Larry. They haven't been back. This kid does. I'm not even going to say. But I will be surprised if that gets done anytime in the near future. I will be very surprised. If it does, it does. It's his property. He can do what he wants with it. You know what I mean? So as far as that goes, but they were out that day, and then I haven't seen him since. So, but and again, the weather has not really been conducive to doing anything anyway. So that's all part of it. But Elon's position is only for 13 weeks. The contract is over. He didn't step down. Well, they did a whole big ceremony today, Chicken, Texas, that he was stepping down from the leadership role. I mean, he could do it as longer if he'd wanted to. But anyway, it don't matter. His contract, what contract? He wasn't being paid. Okay, so it was like, yes, Trump put him in charge to get started, and I know that's a temporary position and all that type of stuff. None of that is relevant to what we're going to be talking about with that. So, but anyway, I wanted, so it's just a matter of hooking in that coupler the right way, and that lawnmower is going to be fine. So I just got to get under there and do it the right way. And I looked at videos on how to do it, so I do know how to do it. Elon had a black eye. Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it, Larry? So I want to talk about this because I find this really, really interesting. All right. So he comes in, all gangbusters, and they went into only. So I want you to remember, it's only a couple of departments that they went into. And of course, the left went bananas, and the left's, hound dogs, if you will, were attacking dealerships and doing all the stuff that they were doing. Because heaven forbid, Elon was given 134 days to get Doge going, and he was invited to come back. There you go, Tony. But anyway, so they were attacking dealerships, burning Teslas. The stock took a hit, because heaven forbid that we actually find the corruption, right, within the government. I mean, that's how awful that we would want to find that. But my point of this whole thing that I want to talk about is this. All right, so the man was attacked personally. His businesses were attacked. His cars were attacked. People that had Teslas, their cars were attacked by these lunatics. All right. And he said, we're going to find, the estimate was 2.5 trillion, I believe. And of course, now that they're saying, well, the actual numbers that he has found as far as, revenue being mismanaged was like 187 billion, right? Not this 2.5 trillion that they were talking about. But here's what I want to talk about with this whole situation. Have you noticed how after these lefty lunatics started attacking Trump and Doge and all this type of stuff, that whole thing kind of went back here? We're not going to talk about that anymore. We're going to go away from it. Were they finding too much fraud? Were they finding too much corruption? That's only a couple of departments that they went into, folks, like Social Security, finding people that were supposedly collecting Social Security beyond an age when they would still be alive. First time I've seen your silver tone plaque behind you, your right shoulder standing for the flag, kneel for the fallen. Oh, absolutely. That's been there for a while. Yeah, that's been there for a while. But anyway, you're not hearing a lot about Doge anymore. It's kind of like gotten real quiet, and they're not talking about, well, hey, now we found this much corruption, and hey, we found this much corruption. And the left is flipping out about all these people that have been laid off and all this type of thing. I find it fascinating that because of what they were finding, that all of a sudden now it's not important, now it's not relevant. I think it's more relevant than ever. I think they need to go into, and the big thing too was, well, these people don't have security clearances to go in, and they could change this, and they were making all kinds of assumptions, but they were read only. These guys were read only. They could not change code. They were not allowed to change code. They were just going in and finding. And why would? Here's another question. I always have a lot of questions. Okay, I always have a lot of questions. Why was there so many files deleted that they were able to find and bring back? Isn't that interesting? I find that interesting. So, you know, how much did they really find would be a question. Why are they not still going gangbusters, continuing to do that? Uh, Ed, you think that heavy dump truck won't crush that water pipe? Larry says. Well, it didn't before when we had it in there before. And so we do plan on Larry adding more stone because we got a lot of stone in the creek. We're going to continue to add more stone on top so that when he does come in there, that it's a thicker layer. So that we're not done with that turn yet. There's a lot of gravel in that creek bed that we can harvest and put back into that road. I do want to go higher and thicker and spread it out so it's more of a it's got a deeper bed to it. So I think that once we do that and we have him come in, I think it'll be fine. Because after we had done it the first time and we just used gravel the first time, he came in and out of there fine with his dump truck. So, I think that we should be okay. I mean, once I wouldn't have him come in right now. I don't feel personally that it's thick enough yet, but we will be adding more stone into that turn, from the creek itself that was washed away. We got it packed up really good with dirt now on top of that. So, and then if you saw the latest stuff that we had showed when Danny came in, and he added a lot more onto that. So, but that's kind of what we're doing there. So, but that's there's still more work to do. But like I said, pickup trucks, Dave's big truck goes in and out of there with no issues whatsoever, and Dave's probably got the heaviest truck there. um, you know, but we're definitely going to make it thicker. We're definitely going to make it thicker. So that's where we're at with that one. But anyway, going back to this, it is amazing to me. They should be going gangbusters with Doge. That's my opinion. They should be going into military contracts and see how much fraudulent waste is in that. I hate, because you got to understand, guys, the amount of money that we spend on our military, okay, which is more than I think the other top four countries combined. So the like China, Russia, and whoever else are the other top two countries that spend whatever amount of money on their military combined, they don't spend as much as we do. So we spend way more. And I would almost guarantee, I can't say guarantee, but I would almost guess that there would have to be fraud in there, that there would have to be fraudulent spending and stuff like that. And so I think that's something that needs to be looked in as well. I think, peace through strength. Absolutely, Larry. I have no problem spending the money on the military. Okay, I don't. As long as it's not being pissed away and not being mismanaged. So if there is, an accounting of that, I think that that's great. If I was running Doge, I'd consider using the findings to blackmail people to get things done. Well, it's just they got to find out what's going on. And they found a lot already. I mean, just look what they did with, USAID and Social Security. There's a ton of stuff that they found with those. But it's I'm in the same boat with my neighbor. Maybe it's time to get a friendly, well-trained dog or two. Yeah, they always help. Yeah, that But yeah, I know the puppies are going to be. They'll be 6 months, 6 months old on the 3rd of June already, which is amazing. It's amazing, and how big they're getting. Especially Genghis. He's going to be a big dog. He's going to be a big dog. And then you look at Kali, and she looks tiny compared. Oh, the feed bill is definitely. I went out today and did a big shop today, and I picked up 2 more bags of puppy food. So I try to keep it at 5, have 5 on hand. One I'm using, and 4 backup. So whenever I get down to like 3, then I have to go out and buy 2 more. So you're looking at what, almost $60 for 50 pound or 40 pound bags, Larry. 40 pound bags for the puppy food. Like Hella's food is 50 pound bags. But yeah, but their puppies they're moving and grooving. Yeah, they're moving and grooving. Yeah, and they're getting huge. But they're going to be really big dogs. I mean, when at 5 months, Genghis was already 62 pounds at 5 months. I know he's bigger already now, and the other ones are as well. Kali was 46 pounds at 5 months. You had Caesar was 55 pounds, and Genghis was 59. That was at 5 months. So I can't even imagine how much bigger. I mean, they'll grow till they're 2. They'll get to a certain size, and then they'll start to fill out. So, but they're definitely getting big. It is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So, but no, it's no, we were down on rain before this whole rain event over the last 2-3 weeks have happened. We were down on rain. We're not down on rain anymore. It seems like every day it's just like, come on. I mean, so even today, it rained this morning pretty good, and then it stopped for a while. The sun came out. I was like, oh, cool. Okay, it's going to stop, and then I looked at the forecast, and it was like, nope, it's going to rain again. And I was like, all right. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of laundry that I want to get done. But one of the things that I had to get done, which I did today, because I knew they were going to dry quick, I did my sheets on my bed today. So I washed them, got them out there, and stuff like that. Yeah, your scales would say help if you try to weigh the dogs now. Yeah, it's the scale only goes up to 300 pounds, and I'm 225. So, yeah, it would not be. It would not. They probably some of probably at least Genghis and Zeus would be more than 75. I think at this point. So, but I heard your forecast is more rain and cooler temperatures for the month of June. Well, according to the forecast, Larry, coming up next week, we got at least 3 days that are close to 90. So I'm thinking, I don't know where you heard that one from, but we are going to have some warm temperatures coming up here really quickly. So, yeah, it's going to get, I think Tuesday, they're saying it's going to be 86 and sunny. Wednesday is going to be 90 and cloudy. And then Thursday is supposed to be, after that. Okay. Well, I'm just saying what I saw, the right now forecast. The extended past that, we'll see what happens. I mean, but I'm talking about the immediate next, and even 6 days out, they're kind of guessing. I mean, that changes, always changes. So, I mean, right now, they're looking at the rain to end today at some point. I don't know if it will stop now or not yet, but it was raining an hour ago. And then it's supposed to be cloudy tomorrow. And so we'll go from there. But, we're just dealing with it, and that's all we can do. I mean, so, just steadily doing what we got to do. But hopefully it'll get better and better. That's, that's the game plan. We're going to get into warm weather. There's no doubt about that. We're going to get into our period here in West Virginia. We get about a 2-month window where we get like no rain. So, Rodney says, I weigh 198 and I eat 1 pound of food a day. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Ryan Hall said that about our extended. I did get the mouse. Yes, JJ, I did get that mouse, and I haven't heard anything since then. So yeah, that mouse got him with a glue trap. So I was happy about that. What I'm going to be doing, just to give you guys an update too, um, moving forward. Danny, one of the guys in the group, he'll be down not this weekend coming up, but the weekend after. Not next weekend, but the weekend after. It's like the 14th, 15th of June. And I am going to be adding 2 cats, so 2 kittens. So that I'm done with these mice. I want the cats. I'll keep them probably in the camper for at least a week, and then let them in and out. Let them get used to the other dogs. Let them all realize that we got to be nice to the cats. Hella's already, she grew up around cats, so she'll be fine with them. Uh, but the other dogs haven't. So, while they're still puppies, they need to realize, why don't you have the beehives fenced in? Won't take much for a predator to get into those. If they're okay, that's a legitimate question. If a bear wants to get into the beehives, even if I had an electrified fence around the beehives, a bear can still get in there. They don't care. I've talked to the people locally. The dogs are not going to eat the kittens. They're not. Like I said, the cats are going to be part of the family. So they'll realize that really, really quickly. And, so, I mean, like I said, Hella grew up around cats. So she knows cats already. It's just been a while. So, but, and she'll be in here with them. So, they'll get to know her. She'll get to know them. And then once I let them outside, but, we're going to go from there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having cats again. I love cats, guys. I mean, I absolutely love cats, but it's just they also have a job. So with dealing with the mice in the pavilion, they will take care of everything. Once they get up and moving and grooving, they will take care of everything. So, not yet. No, no, I have no idea. I got to get them here and see what kind of personalities they have, and kind of go around from there. Well, what'll happen, Morning Light, with a lot of times with cats, they'll put the dogs in their place. They'll give them a couple of swats, and unless they're like, if dogs are mean and they're trained to go after cats, they'll go after. No, they could kill a cat in a heartbeat. But if they know that that's part of the family, they won't. So we'll see what happens. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to having cats again. What's 2 more animals, right? But we'll see how that all goes. But so that'll be fun. And like I said, they're going to have a job. Their job is to get rid of the rodents, and so they will take care of any mice in the pavilion. They will take care of the mice in the camper, and that'll be the end of that. So, but my uncle had a bear-proof fence around his honeybees. At least once a year, a bear would go right through it. Exactly. So yeah, going back to that, you can have this stuff, and it isn't going to make a difference. I honestly believe, and I could be 100% wrong, but I honestly believe you look at. I have 5 dogs now. I had Hella before, just Hella. Now I got 5 of them, and their smell, and they go around everything. They're all over the property. Okay, I think that's going to keep bears and other things away because, like, I'll give you an example. The chicken run that we've had here for the last couple of years, right? If a predator wanted to get in there and get those chickens, it absolutely would have made very little, minimal effort to be able to do so. But they haven't, okay? Why haven't they? Because that dog, Hella, was all around that chicken run all the time. So her scent is everywhere. around there. And I think that keeps the predators away. When we had, the dogs in New York, obviously, their run was around the chicken run. Never lost. I lost a couple of chickens to the dogs because the chickens got up and over. But are the dogs showing protective tendencies? They're starting to a little bit, JJ, a little bit. They got a long way to go, but they're definitely, they have their own unique personalities. And freaking Collie is like a carbon copy of Hella, with the jumping, especially. I'm freaking choker with that, but I'm working on breaking them of the jumping. And I will. They will get. I love having them come up, and I want to give them their attention. I don't want them jumping on me because they're not getting any smaller. They're just getting bigger and bigger. So, but yeah, so it's just we gotta. Yeah, they have definitely grown. I look at them and I'm just like amazed all the time at the size of them. Especially, like I said, Genghis. Zeus looks like he's bigger, but Genghis is taller than any of the other dogs. And, he's thin, but man, I'll tell you, it's just so, it's amazing. It's amazing. So we'll see what happens. So we're just gonna go from there, and we'll get them all squared away, and they'll be good to go. But they're doing well. They're really doing well. Like I said, just growing like weeds. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So, but they've been good with the group so far. Kind of standoffish a little bit, not sure. But as they see them month after month, they'll realize that they're part of the family, and they'll be okay. That's what Hella did. I mean, if you guys remember how aggressive Hella was when the group first started coming together, she was really, really aggressive, doing a lot of nipping and those type of things. And it took. I don't trim their nails in all area. It took a while, but she ended up, she knows who's in the group, and so she's really good with everybody now. I mean, like she'll see, like Mark will come, or Rob comes, or Sandy, and she just comes up and is like, "Hey, how you doing? Where's my attention?" And the puppies are going to do that same thing. They're going to do that same thing. They just, like I said, they just got to get used to seeing everybody every month, and they're going to be just fine. So. What do we got? 193 people in the chat. We got 77 thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. And I do appreciate that. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. So I do appreciate it for that reason also. And again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. But, just kind of go from there. So, but anyway. What was I going to tell you guys? Oh man, I lost my train of thought for a second. Lisa McDonald says, waving from Texas. Hello, Lisa. How you doing today? Glad you're joining us. Janita's in the house. How you doing, hon? Good to see you. See, Delbert's here. Delbert's always here, which is cool. So, but like I said, guys, with the government and the games that they play, I'm sure there is a tremendous amount of, stuff that they could find. If Doge is allowed to do their job, there's a tremendous amount of stuff to be able to find. And it amazes me how much the left doesn't want it to be found. Why wouldn't you want it to be found? And again, when you have these lunatics that are, why would you be against the guy that's finding the theft, finding the fraud? Because your party tells you to, I mean, when your party incites violence, and then people do violence, and then they go, oh no, we didn't mean that. Well, what did you mean? There's example after example of them saying stuff, So, and I will tell you what, the Democratic Party's in big, big trouble if AOC is the next face of the Democratic Party. If you're, I mean, I don't care. Like I said, I could care less if you're left, right, whatever the case may be. But if AOC is the next face of the Democratic Party, you guys are in deep, deep crap, deep trouble. So I don't get it. I just don't get it. But at the end of the day, I want you all to remember this, okay? And I've said this a million times and I will say it again. Left and right, two sides of the same coin, two wings of the same bird, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, they're all going to screw you. Don't matter what side, they're going to screw you. They're going to look out for their rich friends. They're going to make themselves enriched, and they're not going to give a crap about the rest of us. Um, yeah, if they find the fraud, they find the kickbacks. Exactly. Exactly. So, but so don't be deluded into thinking, oh, the right is so wonderful. You know, they've had multiple opportunities, just like the left has had multiple opportunities to make things better. And at the end of the day, they never do. What they do, more regulations, more control over our lives and what we can do, while yet there's a separate set of rules for them, you know. So that's my take on it. I mean, you can believe that, you cannot believe it. That's why I've never, I'll talk about politics and I'll talk about, what goes on, but you look at all the corruption that's happened. It isn't just one side all the time, folks. It's both sides, that are doing that. So Bernie will be 86 with AOC. Yeah, it's crazy. But like I said, it's just never changes, never will change. If you think it's going to, the whole thing needs to be brought down and start all over again. That's the only way you fix what's going on. I don't know, you know, why more people are not upset about what these people are doing with our money. It shocks me that more people are not upset about that. It really does. Both sides should be just completely pissed off. The amount of waste of our tax dollars going for what it goes for, a lot of it. So yeah, from the local level all the way up to federal. Exactly. You don't think that there's an old boy system in a lot of these towns, and if you're on the in, you're good, and if you're not, you're out. I mean, that happens all the time too. You know, why do you think that I don't ever want to be on anybody's radar? And when I say the radar, I mean, I'll give you a good example. Do you remember, if you guys have watched um, that Constitution? I'm a constitutional law scholar, and is calling the cops, jack boot thugs, and always causing problems. Remember that guy, right? And you go, touch me, copper, and see what happens, and all this, putting on the big show. Well, they finally got him for something, and he did go into jail for a while. All right. And the thing is, you push these people enough, you're a target. They're going to be looking out for you. They're going to be looking to jam you up. I don't want to be on that kind of radar, I don't want to be on that kind of radar. I want to go about my business. I want to take care of what I got to take care of. I'm not breaking any laws. So there, I just want to go about my business, take care of what I got to take care of, and not have them going, we're watching that guy because, he said this or that about the police, and he's all vocal and causing problems with local police officers. Man, I don't want none of that. I want none of that. And if you're one of those people that when the cop pulls you over and you crack your window this much, and they do that, you've seen plenty of videos of that, right? That's just stupid. It's just stupid. Love the new camera, super clear. Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely a much better upgrade. Much better upgrade. But yeah, I'm going to tell you what. People may say, and I've talked about some of my instigators. Exactly, JJ. I've talked about some of my experiences with dealing with the police, right? And people say, oh, well, you kiss their butts and blah, blah, blah. No, No. I want to go home. At the end of the day, I want to go home. I want to be polite. I'm always going to be polite to the police officers. They have a job to do. Now, have there been times? Have there been times that I think that they overstep or targeted me and stuff like that? Of course, okay, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be polite to them. I'm not going to be cooperative. I'm not going to say, "Oh yeah, search my vehicle." I'm not allowing something like that. But there's nothing to hide. I talked about that interaction that I had. I'm going to talk about it again now, just to kind of give you an idea. So I was on a motorcycle, and this was back up in New York. Small town I graduated from high school, Caledonia, Mumford. I was in Caledonia at the time. And they have the monument in Caledonia. So if you're coming from the main ways, there's a stop sign. You have to stop. If you're coming from the side streets, it has a yield sign, okay? So we'd come in from the side street. I come up to the thing, and there's nobody around the monument. So I went ahead and went. You got to go around it, got to go around the monument, and we continued on. I got pulled over. Now, I was wearing a muscle shirt, right? So all my tattoos were out. Had my, goatee, earrings, wearing a half helmet because that's what I wear when I ride. My daughter was with me on the bike, okay? And so the cop pulls me over. And so I go to Heather, I go, what's he pulling me over for? Because I knew I wasn't speeding because I never speed in the town because that's where you're going to get jammed up doing something stupid, right? So he pulls me over, and so I get off the bike and I'm standing there, and he says, he goes, you're not in trouble. He goes, I just pulled you over because, I wanted to warn you around the monument. You got to be really careful, especially on a motorcycle, give me the song and dance, right? And then he says, well, do you mind if I run you? Can I have your license and can I run you? And I'll tell you what, guys, now at that point, if I wanted to be a dick, okay, I could have said, well, there's no reason for that. I don't need you to do that, blah, 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 blah. That gives them reason to think that you're hiding something. And I'll tell you what I did. I pulled out my license and I went, here you go. Go ahead and check. I said, I have nothing, which I didn't. I have nothing to hide. I have no wants, no warrants. There's no tickets, nothing like that, okay? So, yeah, go ahead, check. And he checked. He came back, handed me my license, and said, have a good day. And I said, you too, officer. And I got back on my bike, and I drove away, and I thought, what a dick. Because that's what he was doing. He was fishing, okay, guys? That's what a lot of times what they do. They fish. But if you give them a hard time and you act like a jerk, it gives them more reasons to try to fish more. If you don't give them the reasons and they have nothing that they can find, I mean, yeah, absolutely he targeted me because I'm on a Harley, right? Wearing my leathers, doing all that type of stuff, and that's just part of the game. So, and that's the only time, I will tell you right now, it's the only time since I've had my Harley for 10 years, only time I've ever been pulled over, But again, the interaction goes the way you want it to go. If they got an attitude and they're in a bad mood, you just suck it up. You don't want to be argumentative. You can disagree. I've disagreed with cops. I had a cop tell me, you had your high beams on behind him. And I went, no, I didn't. He goes, yes, you did. And I said, no, I didn't. I said, you want me to put them on right now and I'll show you? And he goes, and he got all bent out of shape. And I'm like, I'm telling you right now. I said, I was behind you for however many miles it was. I said, I did not have my high beams on. Well, first he tried to tell me I was too close, right? No, this was in New York, Larry, when that happened. It wasn't in West Virginia. It wasn't in West Virginia. That was in New York. No, I've been pulled over once down here in the truck since I've been in West Virginia. Yeah, and I had 2 pistols on me that day, and the first thing I told the cop when she came up to the truck was, I am armed. I told her straight away, I want no surprises. I don't want to get shot. I want no issues. So I told this cop as soon as, like down here, when she pulled me over, I said, I am armed. Just letting you know ahead of time. And she was like, okay, where is it? And I said, I got one on my left hip and I had one in the center console of the truck. And so, we did that whole dance and everything was fine. And I know she ran the pistols. And again, I don't care. You know why? Because I have nothing to hide. You know, they're never going to find drugs in my truck. I'm never going to be drunk in my truck, any of that type of stuff. So, I don't worry. I'll tell you right now, guys, if I went out, like say today's Friday night, right? So let's say I finish the live stream and I go, you know what? I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out. I'll tell you exactly how many beers I will have if I go out. I will have 2 beers and then I will start drinking pop. Because even if I drank the 2 beers and immediately hopped in my truck or on the bike and went wherever, okay, I'm still not going to be drunk because I weigh 225 pounds. Basically, 1 drink per 100 pounds is what you can get away with. Now, I wouldn't even do that. I would have 2 beers. I'll drink pop. I'll listen to the music. I don't need to get crap faced in any kind of bar. Don't need to. Okay. So, and that goes all the way back from, when I became a nurse. You didn't want to get jammed up in civilian life because it affected your nursing license. So, that's, you got to keep a clean nose. So, I can go out, I can be social. If I'm going to get loaded, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay home. I'm going to sit here in this camper and I'm going to tie one on and, they go off for breathalyzer. Yeah, but Larry, even with that, they're not going to get you. You haven't had it as much. You haven't had enough. That even with the breathalyzer. So again, your weight has a factor in it. It really does. You may not think so, Larry, but that's okay. But it does. So, believe me, I studied all that crap. So, but again, everybody's loaded in West Virginia. That's funny. Oh, there's a lot of people out there drinking and driving. There's a lot of people out there driving with no insurance either. So, but yeah, I just for me but I got better things to do. You know what I mean? I'm not going to waste my time. So, I mean, you guys have seen me since I've been here. I did my drunk live stream, right? That you got to see. I always tell people this. I will get drunk twice a year, generally. Twice a year, I will be completely loaded out of my mind, fall down drunk to remind myself why I don't do it. Because the next day I suffer so much and I go, why did I do that? That was so stupid. Okay. So, and I don't think I've been loaded since that live stream. And that was last year at some point. I have other things that I want to do. And so, sitting around getting drunk all the time is not one of them. That's just my thing. So, and to each their own. You want to get stoned and get drunk and whatever, that's your business. That has got nothing to do with me. And I don't care because it doesn't affect me, So, but yeah, toilet hugging is never fun. I can't even remember the last time I threw up. I don't even remember the last time I threw up. That's been a long time. Long time. So, but, and when I was younger, did I drink and drive? You bet I did when I was a kid. Before I grew up and got smarter. I should have gotten so many DWIs back in the day, but I didn't. I got lucky. I'll be honest. I got very lucky. So, but yeah, I could tell you one story. Oh my God, you guys would be all. Some of you might not like. I am not going to tell that story, but yeah, that was interesting. Interesting day. Interesting day. But yeah, it's just you grow up and you realize, what, not smart, don't be stupid, avoid problems. It's amazing when you stop doing stupid stuff, stupid results stop happening to you. So at the rest area in I-90 in Indiana, you can buy single cans of beer in some of the dispensaries, then go back on the interstate driving. That is wild. That I did not know that. That's actually pretty funny. Oh, it is. It's not quite there yet for egg count. You're being awful bossy tonight, Larry. I don't know what's going on with you. You need to calm down there, my friend. We got like another whole minute to go before that. It was different back then. It definitely was different back then. It's a different time now, so it's too quiet. My gut tells me something is coming. We can talk about that in just a minute, and I think I'm going to agree with you on that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do the egg count. How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. And again, in the meantime, if you have not shot that thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. And I appreciate that. So, again, it really does make a big difference with the algorithms as well. So I do appreciate it for that reason as well. The more interaction, the better. And also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Yeah, Village Home says saying, what happened to the Epstein files? You know, that's amazing. Again, all right. I thought there was going to be more clarification. So, well, the new chicks aren't laying yet, JJ. Once the new chicks start laying, we have 9 new hens, so we have 5 hens that are laying. Obviously, the new 9 chicks are not laying yet. They will once they start laying. Then obviously everything changes, and we'll go from there with that. So I think we got a first time winner here. So let me give you the name. I got to look at it again. All right. If you had the same guess as Cass Andras, I think that's how you say that. 14. Cass Andras, 14, with 3 eggs, and yes for Miss Betty White, then you are 100% correct. So congratulations to them. You have won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. So there we go. So that's, but yeah. So go back to what we were saying here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna go back to that. Look at it again real quick so I know what we were about. Something coming. Okay. Um, I have felt that there's another shoe going to drop. Definitely something may happen. And who knows? I mean, I don't know for sure if something's going to happen or doesn't happen. I don't know. But I am a big believer in preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. That's why we continue to do what we're doing down here, trying to get things more squared away and get ready, and be as ready as we can be. We're getting much more organized in that process. I'm going to show you something. Okay, they're over here. I'm like, okay, where are they? One of the things that we just did, okay, as a group, and I am not going to tell you you should do this or you shouldn't do this. It is your call, but it is something that we decided to do as a group. Okay, so let me ask. We're going to do this first. I'm going to ask a question first, and then we're going to talk about this. What do you think? One thing. We're going to go with one thing that would be worth more than gold in a true SHTF situation. What do you guys? So I want you to answer me in the comments, okay? What do you think would be one thing that would be worth more than gold in an SHTF situation? So we got food, power, candy, water, coffee. Safety is worth more than gold. We got seeds, vitamin supplements, smokes and booze. Mary says antibiotics. Critter Lover Jess says water. We got Brad says medicine, chocolate, seeds, community. All right. Depends on your vice. That's a good one too. That's a good answer. My thing is this. I'll give let's say you have food, you have weapons, you have power, you have shelter, you have all those type of things, right? And those are all important. So there's like really no wrong answer with what you guys are saying, okay? No wrong answer. But it's health related, all right? You have a loved one that gets sick, that needs antibiotics. What would you be willing to give up to get antibiotics to save your loved one when there's no antibiotics to be had, right? No antibiotics to be had. What would you be willing to give up? Pretty much anything. So the one thing I believe, it's just one example of many, there's many out there, I'm sure, that is going to be more valuable than gold in a true SHTF situation, and that would be antibiotics. Because if somebody in your group gets sick and you know somebody that has antibiotics and you can do something about that, um, that's something that, would be hugely important. So there's obviously different ways to get antibiotics. Now, this is not a recommendation. I'm not telling you you should get this. I'm just telling you what we have done. All right. You guys can see that, right? Fish antibiotics, 100 count, 500 milligrams. All right. There's another one. That one is a 30 count, a totally different kind of antibiotic. And this one is 150 milligrams, 100, get that order so you guys can see, 100 count again. This is a different one as well, 250 milligrams, another one, 100 count. And then the last one is another one of the 250 milligrams. We ended up getting two of these. That's 100 count as well. So picked up 5, right? 5 bottles altogether. How much did these 5 bottles cost, right? It was $279 for those 5 bottles. But this one has 100 count. That one's 100 count. That's 100 count. That's 100 count. That one is a 30 count. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 3 different kinds here. Okay. I'll give you an example of something. During the height of the pandemic, all right, Heather had a UTI, and she did not want to go to a doctor's office and deal with all the crap that was going on at that time, right? So she said to me, I said to her, I said, well, I have this that we can try if you're willing. And she said, yes. So she took a dose for a week of what I gave her. That was my call as a parent. Okay. That was my call as a parent. Gave her that, cleared it right up. Why? Because a lot of these things here are the same things that you get from a doctor. The only difference is these ones here are for fish only. But you can make a call. My thing is this. I would rather have something than nothing. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, then no harm, no foul, right? But Silver Sage says we use Jace Medical for antibiotics. Fish antibiotics are the same as human and even made in the same labs. I've taken them. This is her statement, folks. This is not me saying that, okay? So first of all, I'm just putting that out there so that nobody can say I'm spreading medical misinformation, but this is what she is saying. You can take them or not take them. I'm not giving you a recommendation to take them. I'm not giving you medical advice. You have to make your own call with it. I'm just saying, how will anyone know if the antibiotic you use has an allergic reaction? Scary. We're not all doctors. You're right, but generally you know what you're allergic to. You should, at this point, urban prepper, know what you're allergic to. The reason why, if you have antibiotics, you should have a variety of antibiotics. This I can say, and whatever antibiotics you have, however you've got them, I don't care. I'm just saying you should have hopefully 4 to 5 different types of antibiotics. The reason is, one, because if somebody is allergic to one kind of antibiotic, obviously you're not going to give that person that type of antibiotic. Number 2, if I only have one kind of antibiotic and I get an infection and I take that antibiotic and it clears it up, and then a couple months later I get another infection, if I take the same antibiotic again, I could build up a tolerance to that antibiotic. So, but if I take a different antibiotic, right, the second time, and it clears up again, and then the third time something happens, I have to take I would take a different kind the third time. That would be, an option, because we're not getting infections all the time, obviously. And there is a big difference between having a virus and having an infection. If you got the flu, an antibiotic is not going to help you with the flu because it's a virus, not an infection. But if you get an infection and you have antibiotics available to you to use, you definitely want to have a variety, because you don't want to build up an immunity to a certain type of antibiotic. That is advice, okay? And whatever way you get them or how you do it is up to you. I'm not going to tell you you should do this, that, or the other thing. That is your business, how you want to do it, okay? Have I personally used them myself? I haven't, because I haven't had an infection, okay? But a family member did, my daughter, and I gave them to her, and they cleared up her infection. So, oh yeah, well, yeah, you got to be careful. And like I said, again, you need to know what your personal stuff that you have issues with. So again, I'm not giving you advice. I'm not telling you go out and buy this. I'm not telling you that. Okay. That's an individual choice that you have to make. I'm not telling you, yes, you should take this. I'm not telling you that either. Okay. So I'm not giving medical advice. I am not a doctor. Okay. So, no, when I cut my hand, I didn't. No, 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 I just cleaned the wound really well, and took care of it and made sure I kept cleaning it. And I never got any kind of infection in my hand at all. So, no, I never did take it then. Now, if that had become when I cut my hand, when that lovely scar that's right through there, um, had that gotten infected, then yes, I would have. So, but, again, you guys got to make your own calls. You got to make your own decisions of what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. But again, in extreme situations, sometimes you have to make extreme choices, and that is again completely up to you, and what you want to do with it. But I was in the hospital once and started getting itchy. Doctor was very concerned. Wrong meds, I guess. Oh, absolutely, and that happens. That happens. So it's all about choices, folks. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I may tell you what I would do, and that's it. And I have no problem making sure I have options, and that's what I'm going to do. And the group and I feel that that's important, and so that's why we're doing something about it now. Because when that time comes, uh, you know, 7 days you're looking at initial dose of like if it's 500, say you have 500 milligrams. Okay, I'm just giving an example of whatever you're taking. So your initial dose, you take two of them, right, to get a bang on that, and then once a day for the next 6 days after that, you take one. So and you do that, and generally that will take care of your issue. Um, Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just putting out there, the ways that you can do things. And it's just like I had somebody that I won't mention that. I want to talk about that. I don't want to have any issues on here. But there was a certain medicine that was recommended that you didn't take. And when this individual went to the store, the guy said, well, now this is not for human consumption, but if you were to use it for that, this is the way you would do it. So, yeah. So again, it's all about choices, what you want to do and how you want to do it. I'm a big believer in preparing for the worst and hoping for the best and going from there and seeing what happens. And that's pretty much it. So, again, always about choices, folks. Always about choices. So anyway, that's what I got. But what books do I recommend for medical? Oh my God. anything that you can get for medical books, I think it is important to get. Any kind of information is power. Just remember that information is power. So uh, the more information that you can get that can help you, the better off you're going to be. Medical books, first aid, even basic first aid. If you don't know basic first aid in a true SHTF situation, it would be really nice to figure some stuff out. You know what I mean? So those are, you know, things that and again, a lot of it is just cleanliness, keeping a wound clean, making sure you're changing your bandages on a regular basis, and realizing like just different things that have happened. When I cut my hand, I changed that bandage twice a day, and I was going through a ton of gauze, and I realized really quickly, holy crap, I don't have enough gauze. So I went out and like quadrupled the amount of gauze that I had and got more. Um, and we should probably add more now. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's a vicious cycle. How much is enough? There's no such thing as enough. You know, when you think you have enough, double it. So there you go. But anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off of here for now. I hope you all are doing well. Keep prepping, keep taking care of your business. We never know what's going to happen. So the more prepared you are for when that situation does happen, the better off you're going to be. You better your chances of long-term survival in a worst case scenario. Now, will it be a worst case scenario? No idea. No idea. Could be though, so just be ready for whatever. So anyway, guys, be safe. I will talk to you all later. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.